Have you ever looked at a project that genuinely matters to you and wondered how it became so difficult to move forward? Maybe it started with excitement, a clear vision, good intentions, and had real momentum. But somewhere along the way, things became harder. Communication became fragmented. Decisions started taking longer. Priorities became less clear. The project didn't necessarily fail, it just stopped moving. What's interesting is that most projects don't get stuck because people stop caring. In my experience, the opposite is often true. The projects that become stuck are usually the ones people care about the most. The problem is when projects grow, complexity grows with them. There are more ideas, more moving parts, more people involved, more decisions, more information. And eventually, complexity begins to exceed clarity. At first, the signs are subtle. A meeting ends without a clear next step. An email chain becomes difficult to follow. Someone assumes someone else is handling something. A decision gets postponed. A small issue remains unresolved. None of these things seem significant on their own, but over time, they create friction. And friction has a way of slowing momentum. One of the most common patterns I see is that people respond to the slowdown by pushing harder. They work longer hours. They schedule more meetings. They generate more ideas. They create more documents. But often the project doesn't need more effort. It needs more clarity. Because when clarity is missing, effort can actually add to complexity. The question I often ask is, what is actually creating friction? Not the symptoms, not the frustrations, but the underlying source. Is it communication, decision making, organization, ownership, competing priorities, lack of alignment? Until that becomes visible, it's difficult to move forward in a meaningful way. What I've learned is that most stalled projects do not need a complete overhaul. They need thoughtful refinement, a chance to step back, see the full picture, identify what's creating unnecessary friction, then restore alignment around what matters most. Because when clarity returns, momentum often follows. Not because people suddenly work harder, but they can finally see a clear path forward. If you have a project that feels stuck right now, it may be worth asking, what is creating friction that nobody has stopped to examine? Sometimes the answer is much simpler than it first appears.